Feel free.
I'm sorry.
No.
Okay.
Last one.
Hello.
Hello.
I know you thought that Dr. Brandon was going to be speaking, but
I'm sure everybody is okay with
Is
that.
this a switch you made?
you know, so welcome everybody. So I first want to share a story. Some of you may have heard before. So many of you kind of know me as Lynn, kind of the person that's here doing whatever I do. But this is actually Lynn version 2. Lynn spent 35 years on airplanes in a corporate career. Living a pretty bad lifestyle, because that's what you do when you sleep in different beds and eat in different restaurants and are on airplanes. So Lynn had neck surgery. So I could just start it out and say, you see this scar right here? Anyway, I had a herniated disc in my neck, and I did not know him. I did not know this. So I had surgery. As I stand here today, I had it, did what I had to do at the time. He keeps me in great shape right now, but I will tell you that as a result of having surgery, I have metal in my neck separating my discs, and I have the discs above it and the discs below it compressed, and bones burst. So when I stand here and say I'm in neck pain, it's because it's a result of a previous surgery, which is a result of living a lifestyle that was not conducive to keeping my body healthy. So that was that Lynn. This is this Lynn. So I wanted to share my story because I know a lot of people have some similarities to that. I'm not looking at you. I'll look this way. A lot of people have to live like that, and honestly, I did too. But I didn't know about chiropractic and what it could do. You guys do. You're here, which is a great thing. So thank you for listening to my story. So I'd like to introduce Dr. Brandon, who everybody knows is going to come up here and actually really deliver this presentation for us tonight. And again, thank you guys for being here, and I hope that you enjoy it.
Thank you.
So does anybody have a pain in the neck?
Yes.
Do you know pain in the neck? And then you have a cell phone, so we're in the right place here. So I'm really honored and privileged to have each and every one of you here. I've reached out to you directly because I really truly believe that I have a message that I'm going to share with you that is very relevant to a symptom or a condition that you're currently dealing with. So I'm going to talk fast, so write fast here this evening. And I have two special guests in this audience that I want to introduce. They travel all the way from Arizona to be here for this talk. So my aunt is ready to kick me, and my uncle's like, cool. So this is my Aunt Dawn and then my Uncle Tim. So I'm very excited to have them here. So my aunt is seeing a great chiropractor out in Arizona. I happened to go to school with Dr. Hicks, and it's awesome the way that worked out. And he's taking good care of them, and I'm just helping to fill in the gap while they're here visiting. They're here helping with the family. So the month of September, helping the kids, getting them to school. So Kalista just started 4th grade and Kyson's in 1st grade. And so then after that, then my in-laws will return to the house. So I have ample opportunities to be dealing with pains in my neck. And I'm going to tell you what I do to overcome it and really get the most out of it and actually enjoy it. So this is probably, along with low back pain, the most common reason why somebody's going to pick up the phone and go see a chiropractor. So truly, everybody that is under care, thinking about getting under care, that even feels great, really needs to hear this message, because we're going to be delivering some really vital information that goes beyond just pain in your neck, and really how that pain in your neck is just one of many symptoms that can lead to decreased quality of life and really have a big impact in your overall health potential and your well-being. So let's go ahead and we're going to dive into this. So this is our biggest issue here today, is technology. Now keep in mind is that our hunter-gatherer ancestors did not have iPhones and iPads and tablets and laptops and computers to deal with, as they were out foraging for food and putting together the camps and so on and so forth. The technology that we are combated with has multitude of effects. I'm not even going to get into, when I talk about sitting is the new smoking, screens are the new crack. The screens are rewiring our brain chemistry and our brain function, so that when you hear the pings and the dings and all that stuff, you actually crave seeing more and more of it, so you really do get addicted to the technology. That is a whole nother subject. What I'm going to talk about are really the mechanics and the physiology of having your head down like this, and we're all guilty of this, right? Or we know somebody in our house guilty of this, is that we're down like this, and the next thing you know, 4 hours go by and we remember that we need to go to the bathroom, okay? Because it just sucks us right in. So this is causing a widespread epidemic that is leading to people's neck pain and a whole host of symptoms in addition to that. So the neck pain, the tech neck, this has become such an epidemic that there's even diagnosis codes for this. Like literally people will get diagnosed with the tech neck. But it can lead to chronic neck pain, nerve problems, and even herniated or bulging discs. So what might a patient that has neck pain present with? These are just a few things. Obviously pain in the neck, but stiffness and tightness. If you ever feel any stiffness within the joints in any part of your body, I want you to be thinking inflammation. There is inflammation that is going on within that joint. Now people say, well, is that arthritis or is it not? Really, arthritis is an overused term. Let's break that word down. Arth means joint, itis means inflammation of. In the early stages, you're going to have inflammation. Inflammation in a joint is arthritis. But it doesn't necessarily mean that it's the bone spur arthritis like osteoarthritis. That comes years down the road if that inflammation is not addressed. But anytime you think stiffness, think inflammation. There is some inflammation going on within that joint that is causing that part of that spine or that joint not to work properly. And then it's going to lead to tightness. So think about when you're backing your car up and you're trying to look over your shoulder, or you're driving and some people are hoping and praying as they're driving, as they're changing lanes, because they literally can't look one way or another. Those are all underlying problems. Loss of range of motion. So some people say can't look up, can't look down, way they used to tilt head one way or another may be affected. Then it leads to more chronic issues such as degeneration and arthritis. Or then if you ever hear any of that popping or cracking, like, doc, is that normal when I move my head and then I hear that popping or cracking? Or if you're moving side to side, some people ask, well, what's that grinding mean? Is that a good thing? Is that a bad thing? We're going to cover that. Then it can lead to things involving upper extremity. And we've taken a deep dive on these on modules past, talks past. But what I'm talking about is how neck issues can relate to shoulder, elbow, wrist, and finger issues, because the main supply of nerves down the arms comes from the neck. And things like headaches. So we are going to briefly touch on headaches today. Headaches is our September workshop. So at the end of September, if you know anybody with migraines or sinus tension headaches, we're going to take a deeper dive into that next month. But this is all related to neck problems here. So let's talk about this iceberg, and I love this analogy because it reveals so much here. Because people come in asking for help when the tip of the iceberg is exposed. So traditionally, when do you go see your doctor? When you're sick, when you have some sort of illness, when you have some sort of pain. But underneath the water is lurking the underlying cause of what's going on. The upper part you can look at, this is what you feel in your body. The lower part is how your body is functioning. We can always tell more about your health based on your function than your symptoms. Because let's take a deep dive into that. Most of us think, now I know you guys are a step ahead. You're here tonight, you're proactive, you're action takers. But as a society, our country is taught that if you feel good, you must be healthy. And that if you have a symptom, then you're not healthy. And that when that symptom goes away, then you must be healthy again. But that's not necessarily true if the underlying issue is not addressed. Because it is possible that you start to feel better, but get sicker while you're feeling better. All right, let's take a look at this. How about tooth pain? Is tooth pain an early or a late sign of a problem?
Late.
It's a late sign. How about heart pain? Is that an early or a late sign of a problem? It's a late sign. Diabetes. Tell me an early symptom of diabetes. What about cancer? Tell me an early sign of cancer. Typically with diabetes and cancer, you'll start getting symptoms late into the process here. But our society, the traditional way, is built on managing symptoms. So if the symptoms go away, we must be healthy. If the symptoms return, then we're not healthy. But there's more to it, and it's all based on function. So I love this wellness continuum, and I want you to put yourself on this. You don't need to say where you're at, but just kind of mentally put yourself on where you're at on this continuum. The far left would be premature death, so nobody's at a -10 here, okay? You guys all at least look like you have a pulse, okay? And then all the way to the right is your optimal health and well-being at +10. In the middle is what we'll call the neutral point. You don't have any illness or symptoms or anything necessarily right at this point. You're not feeling or functioning at your best, but you don't necessarily have any symptoms or signs yet. And we'll put this at a 0. Kind of, just take a moment. Place yourself on this continuum. Then the next question is that I have for you is, what direction are you heading on this continuum? That's the next thing. And I believe that the most dangerous place to be on this continuum is dead center. Because things aren't so bad yet, you're ready to change. But things aren't so great that you're willing and motivated to keep the momentum moving forward. Then just look back a year ago to now. What direction are you? Are you gaining and moving this direction, or are you losing steam? And then if you change nothing, where will you be at a year, 5 years from now? Are we going to be heading in this direction or that direction? Symptoms tell you in what direction that you're heading. Now there's something that comes before a symptom, because actually on this continuum the symptom is right there. The something that precedes the symptom is what's called a sign. A sign is measurable, okay? So for instance, since we're talking about the neck, a sign of neck pain, before the neck pain develops, would be decreased range of motion, stiffness, tightness. With our technology today, we can actually measure the tension in the muscles along the spine. So even when you are feeling good, you're asymptomatic, no symptoms present, we can measure the function of your body. Just say, you know what, we're heading in the right direction, things are functioning well, you're feeling well, fantastic, let's continue moving forward. Or hey, I know you're feeling better, that's awesome, but there's still this underlying tension that we need to address. And if you know me by now, remember there's an I in wellness and the we in wellness. This is a team approach. Not a done for you program, but a done with you. This is where we start to sync your chiropractic care and your lifestyle outside of this office, where we combine them together to make sure that we're getting the best results for you. So this is a great thing to be thinking about in general, what direction you're heading in and where you want to be. Because I find my clients that have the most specific goals get the best results, because you can't hit a moving target. If you're saying that you just want to feel better, what does that mean? If you want to function better, what does that mean? So it's really good to be setting yourself some goals. And each month we have those, and have you guys seen those, is that the monthly calendar with those little wellness tips on it? Each month, right at the bottom, it says goals. Think about what you want to accomplish in the next 30 days. In fact, from this workshop tonight, what is the 1 degree change? What is the takeaway tonight that you can start applying daily for the next 30 days? Just one thing over the next 30 days to see where you might be moving towards your goals on this continuum. And as we were talking about feeling and function, let's kind of take a look at the nervous system, because you have 3 types of nerves within the body. One type of nerve is called the sensory nerve. That will feel pain. The next is the motor nerves. These are the nerves that control the muscles in your body. And then you have the nerves that control the organs, the autonomic nerves. Those things are the automatic functions that happen in your body that you don't have to think about. So what's interesting about this is only 10% of your nervous system is for sensory. Bless you. That could pick up pain. Just 10%. So the first symptom, or the first sign of what we call in chiropractic a subluxation, a misalignment, is very similar to the first sign of heart disease, cancer, and diabetes, is no symptom at all. Because you can have pressure on the nerve and not experience any pain. Then the motor nerves, when there's pressure on the motor nerves, you could experience weakness, fatigue, tightness, spasms in muscles. Think about how that would apply into the neck. Think about how that would apply when your head is down and forward. You're either on your phone, you're on a tablet, you're on your computer. There's a multitude of other activities throughout the day, and just really hitting on the technology, because that seems to be the linchpin to a lot of this. And then the automatic nerves, the autonomic nerves. What controls your organs? So that when people are coming in with neck pain, it's very common that people will have sinus and allergy issues. I just talked to a gentleman this evening. He's like, Doc, I've been seeing chiropractors my whole life. He actually came from another chiropractor in the area. He wanted a fresh take on things. He came in, did evaluation. He's like, I hear what you're saying. I get a sinus infection once a month. I will just about get over that sinus infection, and then just as it's healing up, then boom, it hits again. So he must be, roughly in his early 60s. And he said he's been dealing with this since he was about 8 years old, as far as he can remember back. Chronic sinus infection. He said he would get 6 colds per year was common for him. So he came in, we did our evaluation, we found problems in his neck, we started adjusting him. 4 months went by, he didn't have a sinus infection. 6 months, 8 months, now it's 18 months. And he said, I've never gone to a chiropractor for maintenance care, but I'm just going to keep coming back because all I know is that when I'm getting adjusted, I don't have these sinus infections. That's really, really awesome. That's where these nerves travel to. Thyroid issues. Your thyroid is right here. C5, 6, and 7 are the main nerves that go to the thyroid. So there's other organs in this area that will be affected even when these nerves of the neck are affected also. But other things, energy, digestion, and breathing can be affected when there's pressure on the nerves in other parts of the body. So if you keep doing what you've been doing, you're going to keep getting what you've been getting. So if we think that if you feel good, you're healthy, that's not the whole picture here. So we need a better premise. This is our premise in the office. This is the frame at what we look at your healthy functioning body is. Number one, healthy is normal. For some, hearing that, it's going to seem such a foreign concept, like that is not possible for me. But I'm here to tell you is that healthy is normal, sick is abnormal. The next is your body smart or stupid? Your body is very smart and it's very, very intelligent. However, sometimes you may think your body acts stupid, but is very smart. When it's in an environment that is incongruent for optimal health and well-being, it's going to act in certain ways to get your attention. I love the analogy, or the acronym rather, for PAIN. Does anybody know what PAIN stands for? Pay attention inside now. That's the body's alarm system to get your attention. Pain is actually a natural response for the body, but I get it, nobody loves to live in pain, but when there is pain, it's trying to get your attention. Anybody in the past ever have like a little ache or pain and it seemed like you could deal with it, and then all of a sudden you woke up one day and it started screaming at you? So it's best when we start listening to the whispers of the body so we don't have to listen for the screams. So there are things that will happen day to day that will start to build up that tension so the body has a symptom to grab our attention. It's like when we have high blood pressure. Is high blood pressure healthy or not? Okay. Is high blood pressure a healthy thing when we're exercising? Okay, it is. Now, what I mean by that, Ellen, is specifically in the moment your blood pressure goes up because it adapts to the stress that it's under. Then you stop exercising and then it comes back down to normal. That's what I'm referring to. But when you're under chronic stress, what happens to people's blood pressure? And then it starts to elevate. So then what do we do traditionally for high blood pressure? We give a med to try to lower it. Then what happens when we don't reduce or eliminate the underlying cause, the medication actually works, but then your body is under a stress response, and then what happens? It pushes the blood pressure medication up. This is why then you start getting a second blood pressure medication, or the dosage starts to increase. Because we are living, our modern life is unnaturally stressful. We are under more stress today than we've ever been at any point in our life. And most people, when I ask them, are you under more stress today or 5 years ago, the common answer is way more today. And if nothing changes, will you be under more stress 5 years from now or less stress? Most people are going to say more, and I hope it is less. I hope it is. So the next thing is your nervous system is the master system of the body. Your nervous system controls and coordinates every other system, such as hormonal, so like thyroid among other hormones, and your digestion and your breathing and your immune system and reproductive organs and cardiovascular, the breathing system, elimination system, everything is under the direction of the nervous system. That's the master system. So when that master system is not working properly, have you ever gone to a concert and let's say maybe the conductor was off, not leading the musicians properly? Hopefully not, but you get my point there, okay? Is your nervous system's truly the conductor of the body. It tells the other systems what to be doing. And then your spine is your suit of armor, okay? It is the protection of your spinal cord and your nervous system. These individual bones encase the spinal cord and protect it here, because this information that comes from the brain to the body and body to the brain is so vital that if there's any damage to the spinal cord, we got bigger problems to be dealing with. Christopher Reeves, anybody? You know what happened there? That was right up here, C1 and C2, and he lost the function of most of his body, okay? And that's how significant that area is. So the bones protect the spine and these individual nerves that exit. So as we're talking about stress, I want to be clear on this, is that there's 3 types of stress: thoughts, traumas, and toxins. So there's physical stress, there's nutritional stress, and then there's mental stress, generally. We can subdivide that into environmental stress and family stress and work stress, but those are the main 3 categories. And when our nervous system is able to adapt to the demands placed upon it, we can function well, feel good, and be healthy. However, has anybody ever plugged in too many appliances into a receptacle? Trip the breaker? That can be what happens exactly in the spine when there's too much going on and your body cannot keep up with the load and the demands of life. So let's specifically, we're going to focus tonight more on the traumas here and what that does to the neck and then the upper body. So I think it's really easy for people to relate to macro traumas as a root issue of neck pain, let's say. Such as, can somebody give me an example of a macro trauma? Exactly, a car accident. Now, here's what's interesting about a car accident, is it only takes 5 miles, an hour of impact, to actually cause one of these bones to get out of alignment, and you don't have to have any symptoms associated with it. So car accidents are very common, let's say an event that people will call and schedule an appointment in this office. Other things would be sports injuries, okay? So there's a lot of sports injuries, contact, repetitive, lifts, things like that. That could be an event to drive somebody in. Yep, falls, okay? So yes, so wet surfaces, slick surfaces, ice. How about the stairs, okay? Ever miss a step? Okay, so those events. Those are some of the main macro traumas out there. And sometimes as we're going through your history, we pull that out and say, you know what, Doc, ever since that car accident, this is when I've had this problem with my neck. Or ever since this great tackle, I tell you, it was a massive tackle, it saved the game, it was the winning championship tackle. But ever since that tackle, like, man, I still remember it today, and that's caused pain, or like a fall. But our biggest problem today, not necessarily that is crucial, but it's the micro traumas here. It is the repetitiveness, that the slow micro traumas over the days, the weeks, the months, the years that have built up the stress within the neck that has caused the neck to change in the way that it's functioning here. As we're talking about cell phones, tablets, computers, laptops, things like driving, a sedentary lifestyle. Even if we're watching TV on the couch or in bed, we can be sitting and our head and neck are down in this. Basically what we're looking at is a flex forward position. Here's the biomechanics. Here's what the science is saying. You guys all know what good posture is, right? If I were to tell you to describe good posture, you see, with the spine, sit up, Uncle Tim. All right, so, no, everybody is sitting up once I mention that. You know, usually when I walk into a room and I'm giving one of these talks, it's like, oh, chiropractor's here, okay, everybody's up, okay. So, from the front view, what should your spine look like? Straight. Straight is strong. Think of a straw. If there's a little kink in the straw, what happens to the strength? It collapses, okay? So straight front. And then the side, you have these curves. You have one curve here, one curve there, and another curve there. There's a reason for those curves. We'll get into that. Okay, so people ask me all the time, what is good posture? How should I be sitting? How should I be standing? Simply put, you want your ears over your shoulders, shoulders over the pelvis, pelvis over the ankles. That is how you want to be standing. That's how you want to be sitting. This is what happens when you're in healthy, normal posture, as your head is approximately 10 pounds. For every inch forward, your ears over your shoulders makes a 10-pound head 10 pounds heavier. So most people, their head weighs 30 to 40 pounds. That's what's perceived by the body. That changes the physiology and the way that the mechanics of these joints operate.
Excuse me, could you say that again? The ears over shoulder, there was two others.
Yep. So ears over the shoulders, shoulders over the pelvis, pelvis over the ankles. You're welcome. There you go. Well, kinda. Because like, you can still get years of one in every crowd. So, but yeah, that's the way you want to follow, right there. Okay, so this is what we see in chiropractic. This is during our evaluation of what we're looking for. This is the point where the spine and the joints are not functioning properly. It's called a subluxation. This is the misalignment that is causing nerve irritation that's affecting the function of the body. This shows up such as a misalignment. Then the soft tissue. Remember how I mentioned about inflammation? There's an inflammatory response in the soft tissue around that joint. The next is the nerve irritation. This is the biggie. Muscle spasm, because when there's a weak spot within the joint, the body perceives that. And what it does to prevent injury is, instead of the muscles being joint movers, they lock the joint down. They prevent it from moving. And we know it happens when one area of the spine or the joint's not moving, some other area has to compensate for that. Lost imbibition. I brought the chiropractic sushi bar right here, okay? This is important because when it comes to our wobble chairs in this office, there's a specific reason why we have you doing the wobble chair before your chiropractic adjustments. It's to promote fluid activity within the discs, specifically of your lower back. Because what will happen when your joints are not moving properly, lost imbibition. Imbibition is the healthy, natural, normal movement of healthy nutrients into the disc and the movement of toxins out of the disc. And when those joints aren't moving, the discs start to wear down over time. Joint fixation, the joint, quote unquote, stuck. It's not moving the way it should. And then elevated stress hormones. Yes, when there is a subluxation, and yes, when, even if you're in pain or not, your hormones go into a chaotic mode. Let's look at what that means. Like if I had one slide for you to commit to memory, this is it. Now I'm not going to quiz you today, only on your next visit. I'll give you fair time to start studying this stuff. But this is what happens in the stress response. So is the stress response good or bad? It's a trick question. It can be both because it depends on where you're at. Let's say there's a tiger in our environment. Okay, it's good to have this stress response because now we're thinking survival. Okay, how am I going to live here? But when it's chronic, long-term, day after day, week after week, month after month, year after year, the stress response builds. It'll have an adaptive physiology that moves us away from our optimal health and well-being. This will look like and show up in your life such as high blood pressure. This will be increased heart rate. This will be increased muscle tone, which, by the way, is all important during that immediate fight or flight survival stress response, which at most maybe 2 to 3 days is okay. Anything longer than that, which I see people in this environment, including myself, fight or flight, constant fight or flight, stress, 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 stress. And it's hard to relate right when we're in the moment because we're like, we did not have a car accident. We did not have a slip or fall. We did not have a sports injury. Why am I waking up today with pain in my neck? Where did this pain in the neck come from? And it most commonly comes from a buildup, an accumulation of stress over time. Then what happens in the stress response? Digestion goes down. Reproduction goes down. Who cares about digesting your meal or reproducing if you're not going to live? Okay? That's really the thought and the physiology behind all this. Serotonin levels go down. This is why you feel more anxious, you're not as happy, and you're not sleeping as well. Sensory system goes up, so there's increased sensory awareness, making it more likely you'll experience pain. Fear and anxiety increase. Because remember, thinking about this is a survival mechanism. We are hardwired. The science and the data shows that we are hardwired to be pessimists out there. We have to be looking in our environment to see, is this a threat or not? This goes back to our basic physiology. But when our life becomes controlled by it, this is when the stress response is out of control. Then we have insulin sensitivity. That starts to go up, blood sugar goes up, and then your cholesterol, the good goes down, the bad goes up, clotting factors. Your body is thinking, I'm going to have a wound, and I need to clot the skin, the wound, to help with survival. But we know what happens when clots start to form in the body. Not good. And then immune response. Like, I see these patterns in people's lives. What's going on right now within our calendar year? What's happening at this moment in our school start, Labor Day, but school start. So what happens in Northern Virginia?
Traffic goes up.
Oh man, like, right? It's like, oh, come on, the summer traffic was so nice. And then it switches, and now you got to add, what, another 15, 30 minutes to a commute? And then dealing with all the congestion and everything. So that starts to add up, and then the parents preparing different routines and that with the kids, and then the kids going back to school, and then the teachers and the administrators, and God bless their hearts, you know, and everything that they do. But there's so much stress, and it's a change. So now then we have to adapt to it. This is where I've been seeing over the last week, 10 days, that people have been coming in with more allergies and sinus and immune system related issues is directly because of this. And what can happen also during the summer is sometimes we get a little bit looser in our good habits. Hey, it's the summertime. Hey, we got a barbecue here and we got this event over there, and it just starts to add up, okay? So this is a building process that will cause our physiology to adapt in a way that leads us away from our optimal health and well-being. But remember that iceberg analogy? When you present yourself at the medical office, the traditional care, and they're all great people. I just want to let you know it's the paradigm, the way that you look at it. You treat the symptom, but you can treat the symptom, and that treatment actually works for the symptom, but all the while, if you do not address the root cause, what will happen? It'll get worse over time because the root has not been addressed. So this will show up in the biggie that people present with. It's the nerve irritation. Okay? As we say in our offices, we don't want your spine getting on your nerves. That's pretty bad. That's pretty bad. Okay. All right. So again, you have the three nerves. The sensory, motor, and autonomic nerves. So our lifestyle puts stress on this. How well is our body adapting to that stress? So remember the circuit breaker analogy we used, okay, earlier? That's exactly on that right side. Too much stress starts to flip the switch. I love this chart right here because this chart really shows brain communicating to the body, body up to the brain. And if there's any break in that communication, has anybody ever had a miscommunication in a relationship? Okay, that is exactly what happens in the nervous system and other parts of your body. It's chaos, okay? They're screaming and whatever, and that's what's happening literally behind the scenes here. So the adjustments plus backing it up with good lifestyle habits help restore the integrity of that communication so that the brain and body can communicate and function at an optimum. So this looks like things such as, let's go through, we went through some of this already, but if you get the shoulder, okay, got a typo there, I'm sure somebody will point that out. Arm and elbow, so any of this, the aches, the pains, if you get numbness and tingling, if you notice that strength is higher on one side compared to the other, this is all related to this. Wrist, carpal tunnel, so that's the numbness, tingling, the hand pain, and then hand problems. Okay, the fingers aren't working, you're getting cramping into the fingers, you get the lock finger, all those type of things, all right? The upper extremity issues. This is how the body presents downstream to the underlying issues. So this is kind of like the lamp, right? It's like when there's stress that continually builds over time in the nervous system, this is what's happening. Is that, remember, we still have a pulse, so we're still alive, but we're not expressing our optimal health and well-being as it could be. And so we know that when we're getting adjusted and we're reducing that stress and pressure on the nerves, we're reducing our tech time. I know there's apps today that you can like monitor your usage. So I'm not saying like, I've heard it said, you know, from some people out there is, you could always go back to the flip phone. Maybe some of you still have a flip phone. That is actually a good thing to have a flip phone, so you could always revert back to that. But if you're gonna have the smartphone and you're gonna be utilizing it, maybe we set some goals to reduce the usage 25%, 30%, start there, and then we can start to scale back. How about your sleep, making sure you're getting enough rest, and then drinking water, eating well, and then exercising. Putting that all together helps our body express health and well-being. So when we take a look at this, okay, I brought this not only because it's Wellness Wednesday, but I want you to be thinking about when you see a banana, this is the shape of the curve in your neck or where it should be. But probably about 97% of the x-rays that I see as somebody's coming in, this is straight or it's reversing in the opposite direction. There's an example right there, the x-ray on the right, of somebody who's lost their curve and is putting stress in different parts of the body right there, and specifically in the neck itself. So we call it the arc of life. The reason that there's an arc is that's the shock absorbing. We once thought that the discs were the shock absorbers. That's not true. The discs are actually the spacers in between the bones, so there's ample space for the nerves to exit that go to your neck and go all the way down your arm. Now on that other side, I should bring up, when there's stress here, that will cause headaches too. So when there's stress in the neck, that'll relate to head pain, different types of headache.
What causes the straightening when it may be impacted by, your head being forward?
Mm-hmm. That's exactly what causes it. So when your head is down and forward, that curve unfolds. So instead of it looking like this, your head moves forward, 10-pound head starting to feel 40 pounds to the body. That's what's causing it to go forward. That is a common way. It could also be a whiplash injury from an auto accident. So the macro trauma, a major impact in a sporting event, a major fall, landing on neck and things like that. Like I hear that from time to time. I didn't realize the pool was so shallow. I didn't realize the water was so shallow. Thank God that they didn't become paralyzed, but those are the most common ways for that to happen. Aaron?
Can you fix it?
Yes, we can fix it. And it depends also how deep or far we're in on the cycle of things, but yes, we can fix a lot of these issues here. Or if it's gone downstream where there's a lot of arthritis already built up, we start by preventing it from getting worse and then help optimize the function there. More on that shortly here. So this area is wearing down faster where the circle is. See where the dark spacers are right here? See how thick that is and then how thin it is right there? That is probably a 10 to 20 year process in this person's life of that compression that starts to build up. It narrows the opening, irritates the nerve, and starts to affect the function of the body. And your body's not working as it once did. And causes a nerve interference and irritation in your body affects your body's innate wisdom and innate healing potential. Remember we said the body is smart. So when there's pressure on the nerve, the health and healing is affected as it tries to course through the rest of the body. So very commonly, these are the subluxation patterns that we see. C1 to C7, T1 to T5. The most common area for the neck to degenerate and wear down is C5, 6, and 7. The reason for that is with your head, as you're looking down like this in this position makes 10 pounds feel 40 pounds. There's just so much weight and pressure right around the hand. Commonly people say, Doc, that's just because I'm getting old. And I'm hearing that in people when they're in their 30s and then in their 40s, okay? I'm getting old, it's the aging process. All right, So I'll give you the fact that maybe your body today is not exactly functioning like it was when you were 18. However, if it was just aging alone, we would see the exact same degeneration and decay uniform throughout the neck. I will tell you is that that just is not the case. We will find very healthy functioning joints in people's spine, and then other areas that have just worn down. And the reason is just so much stress and pressure applied to those nerves over time. Very commonly when it's like that, it is numbness, tingling, pain down the arm. You're waking up with numbness and tingling in the hands. The hands are falling asleep throughout the day, those type of things. Weaknesses. Okay. And T1 to T5. This is in the upper back. This is very important because T1 to T5 are the main nerves that go to your heart and your lungs and to your stomach. So it starts them relating to digestive issues. People's posture today is really affecting heart and lung because your head and neck, as it goes forward like this, it starts to close the rib cage down, and then you're putting more pressure directly on your heart and on your lungs. So one of the most common benefits that people receive with chiropractic care, they start telling me, hey doc, I can breathe better. Is that because of the adjustments? It's directly linked. Because better posture, getting things in better alignment helps the rib cage function better. So people will breathe better. And oxygen, that's pretty important, right? Okay. So this is what's happening over time. This typically is not an overnight event. This is a process over time. And this is what the research shows. At 45 degrees, your head is 49 pounds. At 60 degrees, 60 pounds. 75 degrees, I see poorer and poorer posture coming in with the kids. That's why kids need to be checked. Now, allude to that point is some kids, 8 out of 10 when they're born, are born with misalignments in their spine. And today the procedures are very stressful, not only mom, but the babies as they're being delivered. So it's important to get our babies checked right from birth, because if it goes unchecked, then this will lead to bigger problems down the road. And the sooner we intercept this, the better, okay? And then don't be like this person on the right, okay? It's got so bad, head fell off, okay? That is, I don't know if I can help there. That might be beyond what we're able to do here, okay? All right. So I want to share this this success story right here, and I'm going to keep my fingers and my toes crossed. Do we have anybody good with IT? Okay. All right. So let's see here by clicking on this. Okay, good.
Hello, my name is Donna. I was referred to Dr. Brennan by a friend of a friend, and I've been having severe stiffness of my neck and just no flexibility and heaviness in the neck area for about the last 2 years or something. And I thought that's just what happens when you get older. And so I didn't even think much of the chiropracticians, and I didn't even know much. But then I was referred here, and the very first visit actually relieved a lot of the stiffness and a lot of the lack of flexibility. And I was just like, wow, that's unexpected. And then I signed up for the course of 6 months that Dr. Brennan recommended to my specific case to help me with neck stiffness. And just literally from the very first appointment and onwards, I was feeling better and better and much better. And then by the end of 6 months, I was, like I've never had any issues. I was brand new. Like I've never felt like this, and I didn't know I could, and I didn't know it was possible. And so I was so happy and so excited. I decided that I'm going to do the maintenance appointments now. So just that I never go back to that, state of stiffness and no flexibility again. So I'm just doing the maintenance now, and I'm very, very happy. And I would recommend Dr. Brennan's practice to anyone who has any kind of issues.
Now what's cool about that is now she's working out, she's telling me about all these big hikes that she's going on, and now it just opened up a whole new capacity to her life, okay? So really cool stuff. Now, as she's giving me a lot of credit, okay, but the deal is that your body is smart, and if we find the source of that interference, we adjust the cause, and then back it up with good lifestyle habits, this is the natural expression of your health and your well-being. So tech neck, this is our problem today. And you know, have we talked enough about that? You guys getting the point with technology here? Okay. All right, so what to do about it? What can you do about it? So this is our three-legged stool of results in this office. This is how you're going to get the best results. Number one, you must break the bad habits. Now look, this is not a game of perfection. And I will tell you, the most stressed out patients are the people who try to do everything perfectly. Okay? Give yourself some grace, give yourself some space. This is not about perfection. All I'm looking at is the 1 degree difference. What can we do to improve day by day? 1 degree, 1 degree, 1 degree over time, done daily, adds up to a lot of degrees down the road. You know what happens when a plane takes off from New York to LA, and if they're just 1 degree off the course of flight, they do not end up in LA. They end up way north or way south. The same thing happens with our health and well-being. So don't think that, you know, I know, like you've gone home before and people have asked you if you joined a cult because you go into the pantry and then you start seeing all these foods and things we tell you not to eat, and then you start cleaning it all out and it's like ripping the Band-Aid off. I get it, and I'm like that myself in some respects. So the deal is 1 degree, little changes over time, okay? Little changes. So start monitoring, just awareness. Just being here tonight, I guarantee you're going to be looking at your technology differently than the way you've been doing it before, okay? So we break the bad habits, then add specific exercises. So specific to your, we're going to go through a couple here. You're going to love this. Really, that is the acronym for the exercises. You're going to love this. So I'll just make sure you remember you're going to love this because it is 4 exercises that you're really going to love. Okay, we're going to get into that in just a moment. But if I have not sent you specific stretches or exercises specific to your case, please speak to me, speak to Meredith, and we will get those emailed to you of what you can be doing in between the adjustments to help out. Okay? Remember, this is a we program. We do this together. And your chiropractic adjustments. You guys are amazing. I'm looking at everybody here, and you guys are following your recommended frequencies. So whatever your frequency is, all I can say is just keep that in rhythm. Wherever you're at, just keep that in rhythm. Because as you are sick, the longer you're sick, the sicker you're going to become. However, it works the other way. The healthier you are, the longer you're healthier, the healthier you're going to be becoming. So keep that momentum moving forward. Missing a visit here and there can really halt your progress and slow things down, even if you're feeling good. Okay, you guys are doing an amazing job. Keep up with the good work. So the tech neck. So here you go. Let's go ahead and stand up. All right, stand up. Now with this, we have to be very attentive to our neighbors, so we're not smacking them in the face or anything. And Dawn, you might want to do that to Uncle Tim, okay? But control yourself in this environment, okay? So, all right, so this is, I said you're going to love this. You will love this, okay? You will love this, okay? If you want to do the T instead of the L, you will thrive longer. So some people like that. You will thrive longer. We're going to do this. So it's the Y. Okay, sorry for the tight shirt, but your arms in the Y. I didn't bring any Village People music to this, but you're just like this. Thumbs pointed backwards. If your thumbs are here, you're going to injure your shoulders. So thumbs pointed back. And what you're going to do is you're going to work on squeezing your shoulder blades back. Pretend there's a pen in between your shoulder blades, and you're going to hold the pen with your shoulder blades. So 30 seconds, you're going to squeeze and hold that. Okay, bring your arms down. You're like wondering about that. Now, you don't have to say if you had it or not, but you might have been experiencing some numbness or tingling in your hands. That is a problem there, just holding it up that much. That is a lot of stress and tension here in the neck. Think of 495. Instead of all 4 lanes being open, it may be down to 2 or 1 lane. What happens when that happens?
You're not moving.
Stress, chaos, you're not moving. That's exactly what happens to those nerves as they're trying to communicate to other parts of the body. It's not happening. So W, so we go from the Y W, bring your elbows down and squeeze your shoulders back. Okay? Yeah, so you're feeling it. Spasm?
Oh, yeah, yes.
So this happens to me from time to time. Then I realize I'm not drinking enough water. So yes, just because I'm teaching this doesn't mean that I just get to preach up here to you. I must do this myself. This is making sure that I stay healthy for you guys. The next is the L. So it's like, here's the W, then drop your hands down a bit, and then squeeze those shoulder blades back. Now look, give yourself some space here, because one side you might be able to move just fine, and the other side is tight. Just take the body where it's at. This is not a competition, this is not a race here. You're running your own race. And the last one is the T, so watch out for your neighbor, arms directly out, and then squeeze your shoulder blades back. Just like that. Okay. Anybody feeling that burning between the shoulder blades? Good. It will get easier with time. So we are recommending 20 seconds each position, 1 round for every 2 hours of sitting. So there's your homework. For every 2 hours of sitting, you're doing 1 round of that. So what happens if you can't hold it for 20 seconds?
As long as you can.
Yeah, as long as you can. Okay. Okay, good. The longer you do this, that will get better. Okay, I promise. But a lot of water. If you're getting spasms when you're doing this, water's probably low, or you might need a banana or some other magnesium like green leafy vegetables, walnuts, almonds, things like that. Okay, go ahead and have a seat. Okay, so as we wrap this up here. So what do you do? So what do you do when you have this situation is you get yourself checked, okay? So you get yourself checked, and we do this with 5 criteria: instrumentation, motion palpation, static palpation, the palpations where we're feeling the alignment, the visualization, and then the x-rays. This gives us the data to tell us specifically what's going on, so we make the best recommendations for you. The three-legged stool, remember, break bad habits, do the corrective exercises, keep your chiropractic adjustments in rhythm. I have another testimonial to share.
My name is Ron Mifflin, and I'm 31 years old. I met Dr. Brandon through the Pain Share Project. I'm a disabled veteran, and before I came in here, I was a mess. I could barely walk. I couldn't carry groceries inside the house. There were times actually my wife had to carry me up the stairs. I was a mess. I came in here. I've seen some other chiropractors before, and Dr. Brandon, by far, he's been the best. He's been the greatest help, and I've really appreciated him in this office and what it is that they do. So now I'm at a place where I can get up, I can walk around, I can carry my kids, although I can't hold them for too long because I still have some issues, but I'm a lot better than where I was, and so I'm really grateful to him and his staff for how they brought me this far.
So Ron came in like herniated disc, C5, classic symptoms, pain traveling, radiating down his arms, all the way in his hands. He has 3 young boys. Now his youngest is in kindergarten and his oldest is in 3rd grade. So when I first met him, whatever that was, minus like 3 or 4 years. So you can imagine like his lifestyle, where he was at home and his wife was working and he was responsible for the kids and just everything going on. His life was unmanageable. I mean, this guy, like, he literally was dragging himself in to this office. He just sent me a photo, actually, over the weekend and just said, I want to show you the progress of where I'm at. And he got excited because he was able to put 45-pound plates on a barbell and do a squat with it. For him, that was, like, one of his goals to be able to do it. So not only is he in less pain, his function's improving, and he's a lot happier. This has been a long, windy road with this man. Because he even, like, I was going to reference the chart behind here, but you have to know that health and healing is not a linear growth. Like, it just doesn't happen like that. Do you ever see like one of those charts where you go up and it does like all those squiggly lines, and then eventually like you're up here? That's a lot like health. So there's going to be days where we're having bad days, and there's going to be days and weeks, months, years where we're having good years. But anytime the symptoms start to show up in your body, remember your body is smart. It's trying to tell you something. So we slow down, listen to what it is, and then we come up with an action plan moving forward. So if you are a guest here this evening, I'm going to open this up to your family that is at home that maybe hasn't been checked either. So if you have family at home that hasn't been checked, or if you're a guest here this evening, or it's been a while since you've been in to have your spine and nervous system checked, what I open this up to is in the month of September, we're doing a special opportunity for family members in the same household. It is a complimentary check. So it's complimentary, it doesn't get any better than that. If you've been through this evaluation, and if I were to ask you what was the value you received from it, I'm certain you would say a lot of value, tremendous value. Normally it can be $375, but for the month of September, if anybody in the same household, we're just going to lower that threshold because I know there's a couple obstacles that I must overcome. Number one is time, and then number two is finances. It's sometimes finances prohibit somebody from taking that next step to get checked. So we're just going to remove that, come on in, get the doctor's report, and I'll let you know if there's something we can help you with. And if we can, I'll tell you what it is, how long it's going to take. And if not, then I will recommend what else to do outside of this office. It'll definitely be worth your time. And a wise man once told me is that procrastination is the thief of health. Sometimes we think maybe it'll just go away. Maybe it'll just go away. But my encouragement is get it checked. If we find a problem, we start working on it now. It's a lot better than waiting another year, 5, 10 years down the road. Okay, that's what I had for you this evening. I really appreciate your time and attention tonight. I hope that you pulled something of value this evening. Think about it. At 211 degrees, water is very hot. If you add 1 degree to 211, it becomes 212, and at 212, what happens to water? It boils. So don't underestimate picking out one thing for this month, for the next 30 days, until the next Body Signal workshop is on what? Headaches at the end of September. Think about for the next 30 days is something to commit to. You're worth it, and you deserve it. So, if anybody wants to schedule their family members, you can get that scheduled up at the front. You can talk to Lynn, and you can talk to Nick for that. Otherwise, thanks so much for coming out. Have a great rest of your August and a happy Labor Day weekend coming up. Thank you.
Well, mine wasn't a question. The proper pillow
Yes.
is fabulous.
Awesome.
I only make that
Fabulous.
recommendation is that there's one hanging on the closet out there.
Right.
Well,
And Ellen
like,
got one, and then
this
I got
is-
one, and it's all about when you sleep,
Yes.
pulling your neck in the right position. So I'm not
We were gone for
I'm
a
not making
week,
any money
and
off of
it
this,
was
okay?
not good.
Yeah.
It's just, it works.
Okay, so thank you. This is, give me like 2 minutes bonus round right here, okay? This is an extra nugget. So
Yeah,
what Dave and Ellen are talking about is the proper pillow that we have up at the front. And their experience with it has really made an impact. Anything else that you want to add regarding the pillow?
Well, we were gone for a week at a hotel. We did not bring it.
Yes.
And it was not comfortable at all. So,
Yeah.
it's really changed our lives in terms of how we get up in the morning and feel energetic and very comfortable.
Yeah.
And stiffness, lack of stiffness.
Well-
I had it before when I'd wake up, so.
That's awesome. And it's very important to have the proper support of those things outside of the office, okay?
Mm-hmm.
If you are struggling with posture related issues and you feel like, man, I just like go right here, it's just like automatic, we have what's called the posture perfector. So it's a like TheraBand. It's a band. It's basically you put it on like a backpack. So if you're needing some extra help with that, you don't wear it all day. It's about 4 15-minute blocks throughout the day. You put it around your shoulders. It gently brings your shoulders back to work on keeping your ears over your shoulders, over your hips. So you can wear it if you're standing. You can wear it if you're sitting. So Nick, go ahead. Come on up. This is our model right here, Nick. Okay. So round of applause for Nick. Okay.
Dr.
Okay.
Brandon, does that help then with your neck as well?
It does.
The whole thing? Okay.
It does, because it'll bring the shoulders back, which you're then inclined to bring your head back. It makes you really aware. Okay, so that's exactly how you wear it, just like that. So you don't wear it all day. Please don't make that mistake.
Right.
Because sometimes we think more is better, and that's not necessarily true. Because I've had patients go put that on, and they're like, I'm just putting it on underneath my suit and tie, and they wear that all day, and they're like, Doc, man, this thing causes more pain than it helps. Tell me more about it. Okay, let's back up here. We missed the instructions, okay? So we think more is better, and I've come across it. So not always more is better, but that could be a support tool. And last month we talked about inflammation. I'm not going to dive deep into omega-6, omega-3 ratios. But the deal is that everybody can benefit with having omega-3 ratios increase. Omega-3s are natural anti-inflammatory. Remember that when you're in pain, you are highly inflamed. Bringing up your omega-3s by supplementing with fish oil can be helpful, and there's 20% off on that product too. So those are some tools that we have in addition to your adjustments to help support you. You guys have been awesome. Have a great night, okay? Thank you.
you.